Right. All right, Realty Pros, welcome to House Realty Talks. Today, we're going to be talking about running your business like a business. And some of the things that we're going to be talking about are things that I'm sure that Jasmine have shared with you, or you've heard us talk about, and we've communicated with you. But it's really important. And what I want to do today is give you a little bit of background and insight to some of the things and techniques. And if you're not using them, things that we really want you to think about, we want you to do the research on. We want you to go out and start to set yourself up for success. All right. One of the things that you guys probably did with Jasmine at the beginning of the year is you did a plan. You set up some type of plan. Okay, and plans are great and they're always useful. Around the beginning of the year, all of us make plans to go to the gym and lose weight, New Year's resolutions, and it lasts for about a month, maybe two. Then February hits, you go, Valentine's Day. If you have Valentine, you go out to eat. If you don't, you're eating a lot of chocolate and ice cream and cakes and stuff. And next thing you know, you fell off the wagon. All right. But the most important thing about having any kind of goal is knowing that we are humans. Okay. And that's one of the factors that I don't think we talk a lot about. We always talk about success, but we don't talk about the human element. And I'm going to deal with that. Again, you guys know my background. I used to work with children. I was an educator for over 20 years. I did 10 years in the classroom, 10 years as an administrator, worked, school principals. I did change. I was actually on the leadership team where I actually ran 10 different schools. And I was over the principals for them. I was kind of a supervisor. And that was how, I kind of ended my career. But one of the things in leadership, one of the things that I've learned, and one of the things that I've added to Porterhouse is this idea of basically having emotional integrity. You want to make sure that you are aware of how your emotions are affecting your outcomes. All right. So when you set those goals, don't set them unrealistic. You have to know who you are. You have to know the things that make you tick, the things that you are really good at, and the things that you really are terrible at. Anybody who has ever worked in any organization that I've run, what I've tried to do, and even in the classroom, and I think it was the secret to many of the successes that I had as a principal. I really enjoyed being an educator. I really enjoyed this more. But I'm going to tell you, one of the things that I did is that I went to my teachers proactively and I said, hey, are you good at teaching math? And they was like, yeah, I really don't like teaching math. What do you like? I like teaching English. Well, why don't we make you the English teacher and we pair you up with somebody who loves math, and that person would teach math. Well, that same concept happens in real estate, all right? When I got into real estate, I had to quickly figure out what is it that I was good at, what things would I kind of want to avoid, but I still had to be successful, all right? So that was me understanding my emotional integrity, my build up, my makeup. Who am I? What can I do? Now, you guys have oftentimes heard me say that, I make a comment to a client, or I might say something in jest. And I might say, but you might not be able to get away with this, so don't do it. You have to know who you are and how people react to you. Some of the people, that I can get away with saying certain things to, you might not be able to do it. It might not be your personality. It might not be your temperament. Some of you guys are morning people. Other people are afternoon people, evening people. I can go to a restaurant, if you will, and I can just start talking to people at other tables, and it's effortless, and they're always receptive to me. It always starts out with something, a compliment or a joke or something to make a person smile. And in that way, I can bring them into what I do. That might not be your skill. That might not be your skill set. Some people are very good at technology. They're very good at social media. I recall we've had agents who, I see posting every day, and they would post everything except real estate. And it would frustrate me to no end, because I'm like, those things that you're posting aren't going to pay you, even though I like watching your posts. But you have to set it up for real estate. So again, you guys have to know who you are, what things work for you. Some of you guys will be great at knocking on doors. Others of you are so terrified that you should never go near a door. So Jasmine's not here, I can say that. I'll erase that from the recording because she would never want me to say, but I'm just being honest with you guys. You have to know who you are in this business. You set goals for yourself, but how realistically can you accomplish those goals being the person that you are? All right. Now, that being said, there's an old line and it's starting to resurface on social media where the movie Talladega Nights, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. I'm a man, I watch a lot of men's movies, but anyway, in this scene, he was trying to shake one of the car drivers who had an accident. He was a race car driver. He had a terrible accident and he was afraid to drive. He just couldn't shake the accident. And he went back to his father. And his father bought him another little race car. And he gets in the car one day. His father says, drive that car. He said, I just can't do it. I can't do it. And then he looks in the back seat and it's a cougar, a live, wild, black cougar in the vehicle. He said, sometimes you got to drive with that fear. Sometimes you just got to go for it. And he's looking at this cougar and he steps on that gas. He's trying to get away from the cougar, but he's in the car. And the cougar's just going crazy. He's driving. I mean, he's not even thinking about the driving anymore. He's overcome that. He's more afraid of the cougar. All right. And so that's my next point. Guys, it's been a lot of things that I was afraid to do in real estate, you know, but I was really more afraid of not being successful. Here's the reason. I wholeheartedly, I had a great job. I was making six figures. I was one of the highest paid principals, and I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you where I was. And when the Lord told me that it was time for me to move to the next level and to support Jasmine in real estate, where her business was, and to walk away, I walked away from a lot. I walked away from something I was really, really, really good at. That was very easy for me to do, that I was actually had fun doing. And I probably could have did it forever and not even had to retire because I really enjoyed it. But when I did, I realized I had to replace that same income on my own. I had to figure out a brand new career, you know, and start from scratch and learn everything I could about buying and selling and real estate and what is it. So when I took the test, I took it with an expectation of passing. And when I got when I passed the test, I took it with the expectation of getting my license. When I got my license, I got it with the expectation of learning how to do real estate very, very well in a very quick way. Right. And it really took for me to overcome a lot of fears. Some of my fears, I didn't like taking pictures. I still don't like taking pictures to this day. But I had to overcome taking pictures and going to those places. Curtis did a great job. He has a beautiful profile picture. You guys can take a look at that. See, Curtis is good at that. He doesn't mind. Curtis is well built. You know, he's a handsome guy. You know, well put together. He go take those pictures. I'm not doing it, but I had to do it. And I have that one profile picture, and I'm telling you, I loathe every day. And my wife says, time to update. I'm like, no, not update. But you have to do some of the things that you don't want to do in order to be successful. You have to drive with the cougar in your car, and you have to tell that cougar the cougar has to behave. Kermar, did you have something you wanted to say?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and mute you, so because I'm gonna ask for questions in a second, and I just want to get through a couple of these bullets. But yeah, you have to know who you are, and you have to be realistic about what you're going to do to be successful. All right. You have to set that goal. Say, this is what I'm going to do to be successful. All right. So when I got into it, I learned about listing. I learned about buyers, and everybody was like, "Oh, be a listing agent. You got to be a listing agent. Listing agent is where it is." And I'm listening and I'm looking and I'm paying attention. And I really believe that every real estate agent should be a listing agent. I wholeheartedly believe that. And that's what they teach us. And that's what we want you to say. And that's what I want you to know. However, for me, I like working with people. I knew that I had a ton of contacts. I belonged to fraternities and had brothers and friends and people who were making decisions. And I said, man, if I could get those guys to buy a house and help change the trajectory of their lives and their family lives, I said it would be so rewarding for me. And even though I knew everything about listings and I wanted to get the listings, every time I got a listing, I said, Jasmine, why don't you give me the buyers? Let me work with all of the buyers. Anybody that you get, I'll take good care of. And I'll give you all my listings. And you focus on listings. And in doing that, we set a goal. I set a goal for the number of buyers I wanted to close that year. And I set a really, really crazy high goal. And the goal was so high that people laughed at it. Miss Bowie, I know Anitha was at the brokerage. I don't know if you was at that meeting when we actually got up and presented one time years ago at another brokerage we were at. And people literally chuckled at the number that we had set forth because it was just unrealistic. And it was so big that some people say, well, it's so unrealistic. Are you really going to do it? But I really worked towards that goal. And I want you guys, when I say set a big goal, if it doesn't scare you, if it doesn't make you get up in the morning and be like, okay, now, and then the thing was, we went up and presented it in front of everybody. So that was overcoming that emotional fear of failure. We had to put it out there so that when people, if we did fail and people came back to us later and said, hey, did you make that number? And we say, no, we didn't. But we got 80% of it. They still couldn't believe it. Or if we got 60%, even if we got 50%, it still would have been a crazy number. But just imagine the courage it took. And then what we found was that when we presented, it was infectious to other people. They said, hey, we want to join your team. We didn't have a team. We didn't have a team. And so those are the things that you have to do. This is that emotional thing that I want to talk about, knowing who you are, being realistic about who you are. And then we talk about accountability partners. And the best way to partner up with somebody is to find somebody who's good at doing something that you're not, and figure out what you can share with them and say, hey, this is what I bring to the table. Here's what I see that you bring to the table. If you help me with my technology piece, I can help you with your lead generation piece. I'll go knock on doors for you. I'll go out and meet clients for you. And if we get this, then I'll give you this. And if we get that, I'll give you that. That's how we want you to do it, guys. When we talk about accountability power, we want you to take it seriously. And that's part of running a business, looking for resources. People are your best resources. The number one thing that you're selling in real estate is not the property, is you. So you have to do that internally. If I were you, I knew almost every single person that was in that real estate brokerage. We had a list. We can look up on the list. We can see what their production was. We saw the people that was at the bottom of the list, and we saw the people that was at the middle of the list, and we saw the people that was at the top of the list. First people we went to see if they would be partners with us was the people at the top of the list. And most people at the top of the list were like, I got my own thing. I don't need what you have, but here's what we said to them. How about we just meet for lunch every Thursday at such and such time, and you talk about some of the things that's working for you. I'll talk about some of the things that's working for me. I'll share my information with you. You can share your information with me. And we created what we call the Mastermind Crew, right? And these were the top sales agents in the brokerage. You guys have some really great people that are in the brokerage. I don't know if you're reaching out to each other, but you're doing yourself a disservice. If you're not finding out the people that are in your brokerage and what their production is and how they're crushing it or not crushing it, because there's something that both can offer, then you're doing yourself a disservice. But this is something that you have to do proactively. You have to connect with people. If you're not good at generating leads, find out who has some leads and tell them what you're good at, but know from the beginning, this is who I am, this is what I have to offer, this is what I'm good at. And I guarantee you, some of you guys are so good at some things, and you just need to write it down. This is my expertise. This is what I'm good at. And then you need to start reaching out to each other. And I know some people are already doing it. And if it's just a matter of, hey, let's just meet once a week to kind of talk about what's working for you, and you can tell me what's working, and I'll tell you what's working for me, and then I'll try to incorporate some of the things. Even if you have that level of conversation, you're going to transform who you are and what you're able to do in your business. All right. Now, before I go any further, I want to really make sure that we tackle that emotional part and all of that I just said and just digest it for a second. Does anybody have anything they want to share, any questions, any comments before I move on? All right. Anybody?
Hey, how you doing, Shay? Real quick, I just wanted to just jump in and say that, you know, what you're saying is very spot on. That I know I do get calls randomly from folks, you know, asking questions or, you know, just kind of picking my brain. And it's something that I absolutely enjoy doing, you know, so anybody out there that hasn't ever given me a call, if you ever want to run something past me or just randomly, you know, shoot an idea or whatever, you know, to utilizing all of our resources, you know, I mean, it's a great thing. So please feel free, you know, hit me up and likewise, you know, I do the same thing with Shay. I'll call him up. Hey, what do you think about this? You know, and it's just networking, it's brainstorming. Entrepreneurship, because we are entrepreneurs, you know, can be a little, it can be lonely. You know, you know, a lot of people don't understand the ins and outs and what you got to do. And so having folks that you can bounce ideas back off of, and, you know, it's a good thing. So I highly encourage everybody to do it with each other more often. If you haven't, get in the habit of doing it.
Thank you, Curtis.
And
Anybody
can
else?
I also say, can I also say, so yeah, it's funny Curtis says this because I was calling Curtis kind of regularly for a minute there. And then I called him up and I was like, yeah, I was just calling you this to talk. And he was like, oh, okay. I said, no, really, I have a question, you know, but but that is good. I want to also just encourage everybody because I don't know, you know, where everyone came from, you know, once they got here with Porterhouse, but you know, not all brokerages are, you know, like have that type of mentality as far as, you know, us, you know, working together and us, you know, being able to get from someone else what they need. And not everyone even has within the brokerage is willing to share with you. So it's good, you know, that is kind of, you know, how Porterhouse kind of, well, that's how they encourage us to be, you know, be connected, to be able to, you know, glean from someone else and their experience and whatever they have to share. So definitely, and I'm sure people who maybe have come from another brokerage kind of can, you know, probably attest to the fact that that's not always the case, that they're not always encouraging you to, because unfortunately my experience has been is that, you know, sometimes once a person has kind of gotten themselves to a particular place, they kind of forget where they were when they first started and all the help and resources that they needed, you know, when they first started, you know, so they're not as, you know, willing to be available to people. So absolutely, I just also want to say that.
Thank you, Nita. Thank you, Curtis. That's very powerful. Anybody else? And so here's another thing, guys. You know, we're not put on this earth to be an island unto ourselves. We're really here for each other, and we believe in that. And you guys know, you know, our source of prayer. We believe in Christ. We believe in the church. You know, we believe. That's what we believe in. And we, you know, we want you to find that thing that energizes you, that focuses you, that fires you up. You know, because we're going to go through things, and we've been through a lot in this country and this world over the last few months and over last year. And one of the things that I want you guys to know is that It's not that we don't go through things. It's just that we know that things are going to happen that we're going to have to go through. So that's all part of that emotional stability and integrity that I'm talking about. And you guys, it's tough. I'm gonna tell you, life is can have some tough challenges. But what I like to do, I don't like to magnify those negative things. I want to magnify and accentuate. If it's something to celebrate, if it's a birthday, anniversary, anything you might be celebrating, a success, a close, a ratified, anything positive, you have to almost over what's the word I'm looking for? You have to magnify that, because everything else is coming after you. And it could get real miserable real fast if you let it overcome you. And if it has overcome you, guys, call me. Give us a call. Listen, you got to talk to people. You gotta get shaken up out of that thing, because it can become dark and lonely and all of those things if you just allow life to whop you upside the head. It can become really scary. And trust me, don't think that we don't go through a ton of things. But we know, and we've already set it into our emotional system, that we have to keep moving. There's a movie, and I love movies, guys, so y'all can hear all my movie analogies. There's a movie called Lone Survivor. If you've never seen it, Jasmine loves it. It's a war movie, but it's really about 4 guys who get sent on a mission, and the mission goes terrible. And these 4 guys are military, they're SEALs, okay? And I mean, they're getting shot, they're taking bullets, they're losing ears, arms, fingers, hands, all throughout the way. It's just a bunch of carnage. If you're not into that, don't watch it. But what you will see is that however they were trained, they looked at each other. He said, I'm shot. He said, are you solid? Can you keep going? Are you going to just lay here and die? And it's one of those movies that you like, man, I just got shot. What are you talking about? Have some compassion, a little empathy here. We don't have that time. We have to keep moving. They get to a cliff, and the enemy is coming, and they're outnumbered, outgunned, out ammunition. And they look at the enemy, and they look at the cliff, and they say, man, we jump off that cliff, we're going to die. Well, we stand here and get shot up by the enemy, we're certainly going to die and probably be tortured. They jump off the cliff. They break their bones. They get up. Are you solid? I'm solid. We got to keep moving. Life is tough, guys. Life is tough. You cannot let life break you down. You have to keep moving. You have to keep moving. You have to keep pressing towards the goals that you set for yourself. And I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be easy. You got to have a place to cry. You got to have a time to cry. You got to have a place to deal with those things and a way to deal with them. If it's prayer, you have to have that thing that you set aside for yourself. I heard, I think it was The Rock. He said, only thing I ask is that I have 1 hour a day to myself just to think about what I'm thinking about, right? And you have to press forward. Life is going to have pains, you're going to have to push through the pain. So it's that piece. This is all part of running your business. Life is going to have setbacks. You're gonna work real hard for a transaction, and hopefully this doesn't happen to you, but it happened to us, and not get the commissions. And you got to look at it and say, okay, well, what are we gonna do with that? You can. Some of you might cuss and fuss and moan and kick and say, I'm gonna sue and do whatever you got to do, but you got to keep moving. It should not affect your customer service. Once you're accountable to people, you have to keep moving. We fight for you guys. You are our main customers. Every single day, we're fighting for you guys. Believe it or not, we're fighting for you. We want to make this product the best. We want you all to have the best experience, the best brokerage. We want to be personable, hands-on. People say that, we're too familiar with you. And we know that. We understand that psychology. If, we are too familiar with you, they won't respect us. Well, that's fine. But it's not going to stop the fact that we're going to continue to be successful in business, and that you could be successful too, familiar or not. Where's your focus? Where's your focus? All right. So that leads me to my next book. All right. You have to set a goal. You have to have a laser-like focus on that goal. You all hear that all the time. But here's what I find. We get so desperate that we try to do everything instead of something. And I wasn't desperate when I got real estate. I didn't want to do everything. And when I was a school principal, that was my secret to my success. I didn't try to do everything. I tried to do one thing very, very well per year. And then I built upon what I was really good at. Right. So if I'm a buyer's agent, I'm gonna really become good at it. I'm gonna write a book like I did. We put together that Porterhouse buyer's guide. I pull materials from here and there, put it together in a way and stitch it together and test it and test it. I wanted to be the #1 buyer's agent in the brokerage, in the country, in the city. I was really bucking for Boy Scout on that wise. All right. I didn't care if people. I wanted to. I told people to love buyers and care for, kiss them and hug them and take them out to lunch. I love listings too, but yeah, give me the buyers. And sometimes I just wanted to do the listings. But once you establish who you are, then that's who you are. You're that expert. This is what you do. You know, and you have to figure it out. It was a young lady that's all she did was rentals. It was another young lady in our brokerage, and I hope that you all get to meet her. We've invited her to come speak. She said she would. We call her KK. That girl loves short sales. I mean, I've never seen anybody. She said, you know why I love it? Because everybody else hates it. It was her niche. She learned how to do short sales so good that she didn't even have to hire a short sales services. She knew exactly what they were doing, and that was her expertise. It was another guy that's all he knew how to do was get the credit scores up. It was another guy that's all he knew how to do was build websites. So you know what I did? I partnered with all of those people. We learned how to do short sales. We learned how to do websites, but we didn't do it. It wasn't our expertise. And if we had to, we would rather give it to them and split the commission than to try to do it ourselves and fumble it. And I know that this doesn't sound very exciting to a lot of you because you want 100% of your commission, but I would rather take 50% of something than 100% of nothing that I'm gonna mess up because I did it myself. Any of you have ever been on a buyer's consultation with me? I tell buyers, I say, listen, if you broke your credit, don't be the one to fix it. Let us help you. All right. So those are the things. You have to be good. There's a book called The One Thing. It's an ebook too. You just go on YouTube and type in The One Thing. I forget who it's by. But I want you guys to really learn how to focus on one thing. We swear that we're multitaskers in this world, but there's a lot of reasons that we really don't multitask well. What we do is distract ourselves from the hard task by giving ourselves something else to do that kicks the dopamine in so that we can continue to do the thing that we don't want to do. So we're really not focused on the thing that we don't want to do. We're just trying to distract ourselves and get a kick out of doing something else at the same time, which really takes down our productivity. But what I want you to do is find the thing that you really like to do in real estate. And I want you to be the very best person in the whole country, in the whole company. First, start here. Be the best person. If you're gonna be a rental agent, be the best rental agent. Nobody can talk about rentals. You want to manage rentals, you want to do it. Be the best rental agent. Don't think that there's not money there. People need investors are all the time calling and saying, hey, do you all do property management? And if you get good at it, you can do it for less. It still make more money. Okay, but become good at one thing. Do it very well. Whether it's even if it's knocking on doors, whatever you know. If it's just this one guy, his name was Napsy. He started this thing called Napsy's Knuckles. If you look it up, you'll see it from another company. But he was just the #1 person at knocking on doors. Nobody out knocks doors more than me. And because of that, he made a lot of money just knocking on doors. There was another guy, he was just a billboard king. He just put billboards up. He didn't have any money, but he put billboards up. Okay? And he was the billboard king. Okay, whatever your thing is, if you don't want to talk to people, put a billboard up, put a whole bunch of bus signs up all over the place. All right, which brings me to my next point. The Bible calls it putting your bread on the water. All right, and basically it means put your money out there. Put your money out there. And I know everybody, okay, well, where am I gonna get this money from? Well, if you don't have any, go begging for it. Now, what do I mean by that? There are people that would love to invest in your business. You just haven't talked to them yet. And the thing is, you probably even haven't talked to them about your business, what your goals are for your business, what your trajectory is for your business, and how you want your business to grow. Now, and I told you I was going to let you in on a couple of secrets. Well, you know, we have a new well, she's not new. Darlene's been there for a while. Darlene Bridges. Darlene Bridges' husband is a good friend of mine. And when we were about to start Porter House, when we were thinking about launching our business, you know, the person that gives you the first dollar, he gave us our first dollar, that $1 bill. He thought it was funny. He said, yeah, I'm gonna give you an investment. But when he did that, I was like, yeah, you know what? This is what we need to do. We need to go out and find people who would be willing to partner with us, to invest in us, to help us get started. So because we didn't have all of the funds, and even though we had you know, good credit and we were doing things to the bank, you don't want to be borrowing money at a high interest rate when you got a person that's willing to give you money at a very low cost, if they're going to charge you anything, to help you get your foot through the door. So as we started kind of hinting around to the fact that, hey, this is the trajectory we wanted to go, we ran into a number of people. And somebody said, hey, well, I got some office space that you want to use. And that was the guy from ADT. You guys might have met him, James Carter. He's probably installed systems in some of your closings. He said, hey, come over here to Apollo Drive. And he said, I have a suite up on the 4th floor, and I have this huge suite, but I don't use my telecommunication side anymore because we're using technology. So he said, I don't want to give it up, but if you guys want to come use it, you can certainly use it. And that's when we started our brokerage. For those of you that weren't here when we first opened, we started out right there in the ADT. Curtis, you remember? And you could probably talk about it better than I. We started out right there.
Right there.
Yeah, and we shared that space with him, and he was very generous and gracious. And then it ended up, he said, you know what, I'm gonna have to let the space go. Do you want to keep it? And we talked to the building managers, and they pretty much was like, yeah, take it or leave it. They weren't very nice to us at the time, but the good thing is that we already had partners who were willing to support us in whatever we did. So we had to locate an office, you know, within the park. We didn't want to go far from where we started. And we liked the location, but we wanted an office front. We wanted something like a storefront. We wanted somewhere where people can walk in, they didn't have to go through, you know, going on the elevator, going up there, finding the office. It was a lot to it. And then we had to shut down at a certain time. They would turn the air conditioning off, turn the heat off, turn the power off. Seemed like the technology didn't work out at a certain time. We was like, no, we want our own self-sustained office. They showed us the location we were at, and it was terrible. It was beat up, it was ugly, everything was falling down, and then we said, oh, we can't use this. And they said, we can rebuild it for you, but you got to make a decision in the next 5 days. And, you know, since it's our anniversary, it was around this time of the year, yeah. And they said, you got to make a decision in the next 5 days. And you need to come up with X amount of thousands of dollars as a down payment to get in here. And so what did? We went to the people that we knew that had X amount of thousands of dollars, and they were like, just come get it. And it just turned out that we moved. So again, all of those things was just from us talking to people and finding out what people were willing to support us. Have you guys talked to people to find out who's willing to support your real estate business? Well, they're not going to support you if you're just Shay Porter real estate agent. You want to establish an LLC. You want to establish a business entity. And there's some tax benefits, and I'm not going to go into all of that. We don't have time. I'm almost at the end. But we started that entity, and we said, hey, why don't you invest in Porter House? Why don't you invest into this business that we're launching? Why don't you invest into our agents? And we only had a few agents at the time, but we wanted to build a facility that everybody loved, that would love to come in, use, that their clients would be happy. It was professional, it was clean, it was well lit. And we just went ahead and put the money into it to get that place. And by the way, the furniture that you see, the technology, the copy machine, all that stuff was donated to Porter House. It was given to us by other businesses who we had done business with, that we just allowed to know, hey, this is what our next move is. This is what our next move is. And so now, guys, here's what I'm saying. You put your bread on the water. If you don't have any bread, go begging. But don't go begging in your name. Build an entity. Build a business. And go in the name of your team. Right Price Realty Pros. Curtis, we talked to Curtis about this years ago. He jumped out there and did it. And then many of you do have entities. But if you haven't thought about that, talk to Curtis. Call Curtis. Ask him about establishing a business entity. You can call me too, but I'm trying to put stuff on Curtis now. We want you to share.
Give me a call.
Yeah. We don't mind you reaching out. But those are the ideas that we were talking about. And let me say this, you know, we talked about when you set those goals, you have to do some math, guys. You got to sit down and say, okay, I need to make $40,000 a year this year. I need to make 60, 100,000. What do I need to do in order to make 100,000? Well, if I want to make $100,000, the average real estate transaction is going to yield me around $7,000. And that's on the low end, guys. Keep in mind, I always listen, when I do things, I always look at how much income. I look at it at the low end. I'm not shooting for the high end. If those things happen, and that's gravy. But I'm starting with low end, and then I'm going to maximize what it's going to cost me. All right, so I want to make 100,000. I got $7,000 worth of treasure. 100,000 divided by 7,000. And that's how many transactions I'm gonna have to do. Now I need to know, okay, if I'm gonna do that many transactions, how many buyer sides and how many listing sides do I need to get? And then I'm gonna have to do that math. Then I'm gonna have to go and say, okay, now that I got the buying sides and listing sides down, how many business cards do I need to pass out? How many emails do I need to send out? How many mailers do I need to do? How many doors do I have to knock on in order for me to get that number of people that's going to be able to be qualified to either buy or ready to list? How much work am I gonna have to do? And that's how you get to 100,000. And then you figure out how to leverage. And you can leverage, when I say leverage, if you guys ever heard me say this, leverage just means getting a whole lot of something for a little bit of nothing. Well, I had to put some of my friends and family and all these other people's money into Porterhouse. They've been paid back and they're very happy. Trust me, they're very happy. Make sure you throw a tip on there. If they don't charge you interest, give them a tip, right? Then once you get to that point where you got the resources and now you're actually allocating those resources, you got to allocate them to that one thing that you're good at. That target. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm trying to get to. This is where my laser-like focus is. This is my one thing. This is the choice that I made. I'm an expert at doing this. Okay? This is what your focus has to be. Right? Then you got to create a checklist. You got to create a routine. Okay? You have to be doing the same things over and over that are productive towards your goal. Everything is focused on that goal. The money is focused on your goal, your productivity, your actions, every phone call that you make, everything that you're saying out your mouth, the way you dress, everything has to be focused towards getting you to that goal this year. You got a 12-month goal. How do I get to that goal this year? It's not easy work, guys. You got to get out and hustle. You got to make the phone calls. This is what I'm going to be good at. This is how I'm going to do it. Here's the checklist. Here's the routine that I've created. Here's my schedule. And then you get up in the morning like you got a regular job and you go through your schedule. Every single day, I almost said freaking, forgive me. Every single day, you got to go through your routine. And in your routine, you have to surround yourself and find avenues to be around people. If you're not part of a social organization, join something. Because it's people. And if they have a connection to you and a connection with you, then that's fine. If you don't want to join something, create something. Walk around your neighborhood, create something that you say, hey, we're gonna have a pact to clean up this community. Let's clean up Largo. Okay? And you can just start things and get people behind you. And once you get some notoriety, it doesn't have to be necessarily related to real estate, even though some of you are models and you got, you got your other things that you sell and things, and you have a little bit of a following, introduce them to the real estate side of it. Do not be shy. Again, that's that emotional integrity. Sometimes you gotta drive with that cougar. It's gonna be scary. I remember a good friend of mine, I'm not gonna say his name, but he's on the channel. He was afraid to push the button to invite everybody to become his client on HomeSnap. I said, hand me that phone. He handed me his phone and I pushed that button and he looked at me. I've never seen nobody give me the kind of eye that he gave me. I said, brother, you just got to get over it. But I don't know, some of them people don't like me. I said, good, that's fine. They talking about you, it's good. And some of those people probably have called him and said, hey, man, I didn't know you were in real estate. You have to get through all of this stuff, all right? But these routines and these checklists are extremely important. You got to get up in the morning, get dressed, come to the office, put a couple of hours in at the office, then hit the streets as you will. Jasmine, I used to hit the streets. We knew everywhere where people would be at certain times. And Home Depot and Lowe's is great because guess what? Everybody in there probably owns a home or is working on a home or selling a home or is an investor or is everything. And you got to be mismatched when you go in there. You can't go into Home Depot and Lowe's dressed like the people at Home Depot and Lowe's looking like you coming off the street. You got to go in there with a suit and a tie on and a dress and a skirt and people looking at you like you don't fit this. What are you doing here? Oh, I'm a real estate agent. Just came to pick up a few lock boxes. That was my favorite line. You own your own home? You do. You beautifying it? Have you thought about listing it? What's your address? I can send you a free analysis right now. If you're interested, I can certainly listen. Just very casual conversation. They see me in the Home Depot, I mismatch. I don't match what they look like. I'm dressed up. I got a shirt and tie. I used to keep a shirt and tie in the car. Just in case I was dressed down, I'd change my clothes in the car, go into Home Depot. Put my name badge on, walk through there, have my little handkerchief hanging out. Just so people can say, you don't fit, you don't look like you belong here. Walking through the appliance lines, dressed up, people, you look very nice. They thank you so much. Here's my card. Oh, you do real estate? Yeah. Well, I was thinking about selling my home. What's your address? It was very easy, guys. That was easy for me. It might not be easy for you. It was easy for me. But that mismatch thing was important. Then we started going to church. We dressed down. You look very casual today. Yeah, we've been working hard, Yeah, we got to show a few houses. We didn't work on Sunday, but we might have to show a house, depending on the client. Was a VIP client. VIP client, we'd go. And we just started dressing down. A little bit. We would, it wasn't crazy, but it was, but we kind of mismatched just to get a little bit of attention, make people come have a conversation with you. Right? So you have to kind of know and intentionally, and this was all day, every day. We were thinking about the things that we masterminded with the top agents about. And these little silly strategies they were doing, and it was working. Putting their badge on upside down. I know somebody did that before. And a person came over and said, hey, your badge is upside down. Oh man, thank you. Yeah. Oh, you do real estate? Yeah. And it's just open up the conversation. It's a conversation starter. You do what you got to do, especially when you're focused on your goal. You do what you have to do. You go into the bank, you don't just go into the bank to stand in line and get a transaction done. You want to go over there and talk to that bank manager. He knows somebody that's just closing an estate, an account, or this or that. Bring him a coffee. Sit down and talk to you. You got time to talk to me today, Jim? How you doing, man? How's everything? What's going on in business over here at the bank? Well, man, I did have somebody, husband passed away, and they had an estate account, but I really can't give them your information. But is it okay if I give them your card? Is it okay? I wish you, please, by all means, here's a stack of my cards. Feel free to give it away at any time you want. Lawyers, they know about divorces and things that's coming to call those divorce lawyers. These are accounts. Jasmine always talks about getting accounts. That's how you get accounts. You don't get them by going up to people saying, "Hi, my name is Shay, and I work for Porterhouse, and I'm trying to figure out." They go, "Look, get out of here. They don't want to talk to you." You always give something before you ask for anything. You go in and you make friends with people. I make friends with the lawyer, the divorce court lawyer. I'm never gonna need your service. I call them and say, "I never need your services, but you might need mine one day." And, you just talk to people. You say, "Yeah, how's the divorce business going?" "Really? Really? It's really that much money in?" "Wow, okay, well, shoot. Well, I hope I never have to meet." And you go through all of that, and you have conversations. "Man, well, look, I would love to sit down and talk to you one day about what you're doing. What's your business? What's your trajectory? Do you own?" Look, you talking to him about what's his real estate goals. And once you start to have that conversation with him about his personal real estate goals, I'm not gonna go after his business. I'm gonna help him out personally. He might not even own a home. Don't assume lawyers own homes. And don't assume that the girl at the Starbucks can't afford one. Everybody's my client. I make no assumptions about people. All right? Creating those checklists, creating that routine. I'm almost finished, guys. I know 4 minutes over. Just give me 1 second of indulgence. I promise you I'll be done. Create the schedule and stick to your schedule like you have a job, like you're punching in. Punch in for yourself. You've been punching in for somebody else all your life. Punch in for yourself. Be your own boss. And if you're really courageous, if you get those people to back you and you have some money, hire an assistant and make that person do all of the things that you know you should be doing. And then after you make sure that they're setting up and they're calling and they're setting up leads and doing all these things and generating leads for you, then you give them your schedule and you tell them, "Hold me accountable to this schedule. Make sure I am where I'm supposed to be every day." And then I want you to, when you get a lead and you answer that phone and it's a lead, you make sure that I set up that buyer's consultation. You make sure you are my boss. Hire an assistant, then make that assistant your boss. Hand them your schedule, hand them all of that. Make them your boss and do what they tell you to do. I miss Damaris. Damaris, she was sweet, but no, you're supposed to be, no, you got to put it down, stop, no, go over there, please hurry up now. And she would get us there, all right? And the last thing, guys, you got to, well, it's 2 more things, 2 more bullets, and then I'm finished. You got to set up systems, right? You set up a system and you're faithful to the systems that you set up. You set those systems up, you test them. When I test them, I do what's called red light, green light. If the system is not working, like constant contact is no longer working, I'm about to red light it, guys. I'm about to red light it. We got to get it out of here, and green light something else. Dot loop wasn't working. We red lighted it. We green lighted brokerage. If brokerage stopped working, we're gonna red light that. But you got to do it quickly. You got to red light, green light things because you got to know. And this is not something that that we created. This is from that mastermind conversation years ago. From somebody said, "Man, listen, I give these people my money. They'll call me and say, 'Hey, we can get you 7 leads in the next 3 weeks. Give me $599. He said, "I'm going to give them $599. I better get 7 leads. If I get 7 leads and I close 2, that's worth it. I'm going to give them another $599. And that's how they think. They put their bread on the water. They were making things happen. They weren't afraid to put that money out. And sometimes it wasn't their money. But once they got that check, they paid the person back, said, "Hey, you want to put some more in?" Yeah, man, that was pretty sweet. Right? Red light, green light, figure out what's working for you, what's not working for you. If it's not working, get rid of it. You're not good at everything. You don't have to be. You have to be good at one thing really well. You got to be an expert at it. And then you repeat it. And you do it over and over, just like your routine. And then you find ways to leverage it, like through technology. We love HomeSnap. HomeSnap saves us a lot of time and sitting down at the computer and doing CMAs. I can send people CMAs all day long. People love them. They think, you're a genius. Took me 2 minutes to run it on HomeSnap, maybe less. I'm leveraging to technology. I'm sending people, I'm not chasing people around to get signatures on papers. And some of you have been in real estate for a while. You know what I'm talking about. You had to go meet them at the Starbucks, meet them over here, meet them on the back of your car, meet them over there, just to get a signature. Then you had to take it over to this company and drop it off at that company, put it in the mail, send it through a fax machine. That's old. Sit at your computer, learn how to use BrokerBit, leverage that technology. We're paying for it, just use it. If it stopped working for you, we're gonna find something else. There's tons of stuff we can try. And I'm a red light or green light. And then finally, guys, building your business. Today, I'm gonna just say this. Once you got all of that stuff in place, keep refining it. Create a feel for it. You know, Curtis and I, we were talking about the different kinds of milk that's on the market. Curtis, you know, he's a fitness guy. So he talks to me about all kinds of stuff. You know, he just calls sometimes. So we're talking about the almond milk versus the soy milk versus the regular milk versus the, you know, this kind of milk. And the new thing I'm in love with is oat milk. And we were talking about that. And he said it's the mouth feel. It's just the way it feels. You just got to find the one that feels good to you. In Porterhouse, we try to create a feel. And we try to tell you guys what that means to us. We talk about those, we message that to you in a lot of ways, and you got to interpret it the way it works for you, but you still want to give that quality feel to your clients. You want them to rate you a 5 out of 5 every time. You want to check your emotions so that you never flip out on your clients and that you can tolerate the stuff that they're going to bring to you. Because listen, they're just bringing the best person that they are. And if that's, I've been cussed out, I've been told by a boxer that he was gonna beat me up, all kind of things. And he still got 5 out of 5 star services. And we still talk to this day. We're still friends. He sent me a ton of clients. He laughs about it every time I say, yeah, but you was gonna beat me up. But it's the way, it's a feel. I'm not gonna react to him. He's my client. He's going through things. I understand it. We all do. We're human beings, but I'm the professional. And it's hard. If I'm not emotionally checked, then I'm going to react. So I have to have something that I know to do. And for me, it's prayers. For me, it's reading the Bible. For me, it's talking to the Lord. For me, it's just meditating on those things that are good. And then when things happen, I know what people are going through. And I'm able to take it. They can cuss me out. I'm not going to cuss them back out. I'm going to take the F and throw it over in the woods somewhere. It's okay for me. It might not be okay with you, but that's part of this business. My goal is what my goal is. I want you to have the best feel from Porterhouse. I want you to be successful, and I want you to get the product that you want, either if it's a house, investment, or what have you, and I want you to save as much money as possible. On the other hand, if you're listening, I want to sell your house for as much as I possibly can, and I want you to enjoy the experience. I don't want it to be a headache to you. I want you to love it, so you tell everybody about me, because you're going to help me build a referral-based business, which is the best kind of business in all of the top 10 people. That's one thing we said. All of us were referral-based business, meaning people just was talking about the experience that they had with us over and over again. It wasn't the technology. It wasn't a knocking on doors. It was just that people just said, I just love those people. I love being around them. I love talking to them. They're just so yummy. And you need to be yummy. People need to not like you, they need to love you. And you have to find how to get to the lovable you so that people continue to refer you. Or they can say, even if you're not lovable, that person know what they're doing. They're good, they're expert. No, you need to call that person. Don't listen to that person, call this person. You need to establish yourself in one of those arenas. And you need to gladiate for your position, all right? Creating that field. And then invite others into your system. We invited you guys in the Porterhouse and we give you everything we got. We tell you all about business. We tell you all about secrets. That's what you have to do. That's what all the successful people are doing. They're inviting you into what they know. They're inviting you into what they do. We're going to start talking to you all more about buying your own homes and buying your own properties and flipping your own properties and selling your own properties and keeping some, buying holds so that you can have income, $3,000 a month income coming in just from people paying their rent. You can do it. And that's leverage. That can pay for something that you don't want to pay for. And then finally, guys, when you invite people in, don't be stingy. Share something with them. We believe in being the first givers. We'll start you out and say, hey, we'll give you $75 if you don't show a house when it closes. We'll give you $300 if you recruit a person. That's just not being stingy. We want to take, you know what, for the next 2 months, and y'all can tell Jasmine, I said I'm gonna put on the recorder for the next, what's this, October, November, December, for everybody recruit, we're gonna give you $500. I'm putting it out there, I'm saying it. I'm in trouble now. But y'all my witnesses. I'm gonna change that sign in the office and say 500. That's for the next 2 months. If it works, we'll keep going all year. But we want to invite people into the system. Because listen, guys, when we launch, what we're about to launch, we're gonna need more people. We're gonna need more people. And then once you guys invite people in your system, become lead generators. So much so that you have to help people out and give them leads and split some leads with people. 25%, you know, if they walk through the whole lead, you're training them, they're getting some money, they're gonna be very thankful. When they start to get good, they're gonna come back and negotiate. They're gonna want 35%. Some of them gonna ask for 50%. That's okay. That I would rather get a 50% of a transaction than to lose 100% of it. Anyway, guys, I've run out of time. I'm way over my time. I try to go through as many of these bullets as I could. I can keep going and going and going, but I'm gonna close right here. I'm gonna see if you guys have any questions, any comments, anything that you want to say. I know I didn't got myself in trouble, but it's on the recording. Jasmine's gonna hear it. I think she just tried to call me. But anyway, anybody have anything to say before we close? Any questions, comments? Did I bore you?
I'm just going to chime in and say everything, you know, that you were saying, Shay, is right on time. It's right on point. My head's already spinning where things that I have been thinking about implementing and getting going, I'm really about to implement and get going. And some other things that I have already kind of put in play, I know that was the right thing for me to be doing. You know, I'm excited to close out the year. I'm excited for next year, you know, so I mean, this is why I get on these calls. This is why I'm always on the trainings. More knowledge is more information. So hey, good stuff.
Yeah, and thank you, Curtis. And guys, listen, when you have your idea and you gotta structure it, you know, call us and we can help you put the mechanics together so that your stuff actually works. And don't be offended if we shoot some things down and say, hey, we don't think that's gonna work, or we don't know how to do it, but we might introduce you to somebody who does, or we might just say, we've tried that, it really doesn't work, it's a waste of your time, energy, and money. So trust us, when we say we've tried things, we put a lot of money into building a real estate company, building a brand, establishing the market share that we wanted. And we've been very happy where we are. We know how to expand. We know how to grow. We just didn't want to grow. We didn't want to have the Popeye's chicken sandwich fiasco, you know, if you will, where you get too big for your britches and you run out of things. We didn't want to go there. We didn't want our service, the quality of service that we want to put out to you know, expand so quickly that we didn't have the resources. We didn't have people that was trained to manage all of the influx. But now that we have you guys, we're ready. We're ready to launch. And so we're going to be talking to you about some systems and things that we already have implemented. We were working on them. They're working extremely well. They're doing, you know, some amazing things, and how we're going to use those to leverage them. Trust me, it's coming. We wanted to launch it here at the our anniversary, but we wanted to do it right. So we're going to push it to 2022, and you guys are going to have access to so many wonderful things that's coming down the pike. It's going to transform what we're doing here at Porterhouse. Anybody else before we go? you guys, when I ask those questions, I try to be patient to see if sometimes people have trouble getting unmuted. But if you want to say anything, please unmute yourself. Otherwise, I'll close out at this time so you guys can go be productive. If you have any questions, you can text me, call me. Is there anything else anybody want to share? All right. Well, I'm going to end the recording, and I'm going to say, you guys, thank you for joining us, and let's go be productive today. Hope that I didn't bore you. I hope I gave you some things to think about. And I just want you guys to be extremely successful. That's really the heart of what I'm saying, And there's anything that I can share with you, if you need any help with any of those items that I talked about, you can certainly call me. You guys have my number. Wish you all the success and have a wonderful day, guys.